magazine together. Wired is the only other magazine I subscribe to, aside from Time Out New York. I've thumbed through almost every issue of Wired magazine, even years ago when they were still young. And there's always something interesting. Often I'll skip the big articles if it's not something I'm particularly interested in, but there are always enough fulfilling pages to make it a worthwhile endeavor. So I chose May 2014 because of these human personalities on the front cover, and so this guy, I definitely identify with him having a sip of some coffee or tea or something, and these people, if they were gathered around a table together, I'm certain that the conversation would be lively. And let's go ahead and move forward. Lots of advertisements in this magazine, though, just for bougie products that are aimed at the readership, especially watches. I could care less about watches. Is there really still a market for fine timepieces, wristwear? I don't know. For me, I like to carry the smallest amount of stuff possible, and I already carry 2 clocks, so I couldn't dream of wearing a watch no matter how cool it was. BizCon, well, forget about it. I'd much rather go to BlizzCon. Yeah, more advertisements, that's just the way of it. Some cellular structure here, that's kind of nice. Another watch, unbelievable. Every time I flip through Wired magazine, I'm astounded at the number of watches, and I have absolutely zero interest in all of them. Okay, so I'm not a wine drinker. In the past, I've drank a lot of wine in my life, but I can't say I've really ever liked it unless it's a very light wine, like a Rhine, or a really fruity wine, like a sangria. But this is a pretty striking image. Almost like a tulip. Very beautiful. That's a great capture. Alright, let's skip through some of this boring stuff. I never ever would look at the table of contents or any of this stuff. Although, I watched maybe a half an hour of Mystery Science Theater movie the other day. It was the first time I'd ever watched one of their films, and there was a lot more entertainment value than I would have suspected. Okay, this is getting to be a little bit eerie. Although, that's kind of a cool watch. Still, I wouldn't be caught dead in it. Alright. Okay, let's begin, I guess, the magazine proper. Countries rich with connected young people may one day run the world. Well, that's already changing. Every person is becoming connected. Grandparents, children. And one day, yes, it is my hope that the entire globe is tied up together online, exchanging ideas, improving the quality of life of Cambodia, Ethiopia, India. I hope that they too one day will have easy, accessible internet, free, open lines of communication with the rest of the world, while maintaining their integrity, the cultural things that make them unique. Okay, she's a media critic. How's that for a job description? I'm a media critic too, but not really quite found a way yet to get paid for it. Let's see here, another ad. I'm going to try to squeeze some kind of interesting note about out of some of these ads, I guess. Look at the intensity of these guys moving around. A perfectly owned machine being tended to by all these people, shaving milliseconds off of their behaviors. This is another job. A lot of people out there working in these high-profile sporting positions. This really blurs a line, between sports and work. Let's find out what the outer net is. The space-based alternative internet, designed to evade censorship. Yeah, well, I've always thought if net neutrality goes out the window and evil corporations start trying to throttle internet or charge more for accessing certain content, there's going to immediately appear an alternative that will keep everything free and open. That's just the way of things. Now that humanity has had a taste of the internet and how technology can transform our lives, there's not going to be really any way for the people who hold the power and all the money to stop that information or throttle it, at least for long. Let's see. Okay. This is a huge ad. I'm sure it's probably about a watch. Sunglasses. So here's their advertising dollars at work. I suppose this is a handle for a bicycle or something. Yeah, or motorcycle hand grip. Okay. Yeah, alright. I'd like to have a motorcycle. I'm probably going to get my motorcycle license next year. So I'm excited about that. Origami Spice. That could have been the 6th Spice Girl. So this is cool. I just watched the movie Sunshine last night, and it had a spaceship similar to what this looks like, a spacecraft, fictional universe. And tonight I watched the science fiction film Moon. So I must say I liked Moon much more than Sunshine. And the reason I watched Sunshine, I think, is because on BuzzFeed they said that that's the film that one of the critics liked more than Interstellar. Interstellar was much better than Sunshine. sunshine, but there was a pretty good development through the first 2/3 of sunshine. I'm going to try to finish the rest of this paragraph without mentioning the name of the movie again. So, in Interstellar, I read one critical review that said that after watching it, it quickly left the mind and didn't really evoke any afterthoughts that were very stimulating, and I agree with that. While it was pretty fun to piece it all together and take in the spectacle while it was going on, I don't think that there was really that much to chew on afterwards. But it was a good movie. I was astounded maybe 3 weeks ago when I watched the film Under the Skin, which is another sci-fi movie, and that one really took me there. I thought it was an incredibly visceral experience that haunted me after a fashion for a few days, and I have mentioned it to several people, so it's been lurking there in my subconscious, and that one was really well done. I had a couple different theories after watching it, and they all made perfect sense to me, and still I can unfold it and look back on those memories and enjoy the reminiscing. So that's a highly recommended film, Under the Skin, if you like weird ones. Weird sci-fi. Loaded sci-fi, I would say. Okay. Is this a self-serving cupcake robot? I'm ready to trade in my HAL 9000 model anyway. Wait a minute. Yeah, burritos and salads and cupcakes out of vending machines. This really deserves to come stateside. Let's see. Oh, they're already in the States. This page 42, is the most stimulating by far so far. I really hope that one day, in this beautiful future we're building together, that I can stroll into a public space and pull a steaming hot burrito out of a vending machine. Okay. So our armed forces, I've just learned, are now being provided chewing gum with antimicrobial peptide. I've never really considered the claims that chewing gum improves chewing sugar-free gum is healthy for you after meals and promotes good mouth hygiene. But I suppose it does. Getting all the food particles out of there, washing them away to their recesses of the human stomach. What does this guy have? Oh, yeah. So animals, I think, with really honed senses of smell, I think I may have read this in Wired, have been able to ID some kinds of health issues, and maybe this guy's taking it a little bit further. A chromatographical and mass spectrometry evaluation of your breath. That is great. See, I think that modern science and medicine is going to improve human life up to an incredible degree. Already our life expectancies and the miracle of modern science, modern medicine, it's fantastic. seen in the lives of some of my friends what modern medicine can do, and it really is astounding. And I feel safer, more comfortable, and less ill at ease about any type of illness that could strike me, just because of the beauty of what we've accomplished in medicine. So this looks like a little bit of fun, doesn't it? Especially those meals. So I would grip up one of these heads of garlic immediately. I wonder what they're having. This looks kind of like some kind of a chili, maybe chili with some greenery. Yum. Lively conversation. None of them are actually eating. They're just talking. This is a talking party, conversation party. I forgot. I suppose that must be in fashion now, going to parties and being served food and not eating it. An undersea tunnel in Miami. Very cool. Interesting. Great. Engineering. Alright, I'm certain that's a good read. If you want to learn about algorithms and Shakespeare, just pause the video and go ahead and enjoy this article. And I'll be here when you get back. Okay, well, that's a cool graphic. Homebrewed brain zappers. I think in my younger days I might have signed up for something like that. But nowadays all I really want is one of those gaming rigs. It's eluding me now because I'm making a video, but an Oculus Rift. That's just about all I'd be strapping to my head right about now. But that's pretty cool though. I know out there, probably right now, while I'm making this video, somebody's experimenting with hooking up extreme electrodes and stimulating whatever kind of chemicals. I'm really getting there. Alright. So this guy went to Radio Shack and spent $20, and apparently he has set up an electrical current and sent it directly into his brain matter. And how far he's gonna go. Still living. Yeah. Okay. Don't try this at home. Electricity is definitely a strange thing, but in nature I don't think humans would really be harnessing it if we lived in a state of nature. It would just kind of show up as lightning strikes. But that's a lot of claims here. No depression, a supercharged memory, and no pain. Well, depending on maybe where you latch these electrodes onto your noggin. Yeah, here it is, the dead of winter, and they're showing beautiful ocean shots. Well, I suppose it was May. Alright, just breeze through this. They're showing a lot of high-performance automobiles and watches. If I was going to buy a new automobile, like, if somehow I had a lot of money, I would just go to the reviews and pick the safest motor vehicle, depending on the crash tests and all the ratings. And I would just want to have the safest car on the road. But this kind of is a contrast to my earlier statement about getting a motorcycle license. So I suppose there's two sides to every coin. That's a pretty cool art project. I suppose they're going, taking little naps. Is it a hotel? It's inducing hallucinations. That's pretty nice. I'm not even going to investigate it anymore. I'm just going to imagine that this is an art gallery and they're going in there and tripping out using some aged scientific process. Maybe they even have electrodes hooked to their brains. Graduation from university, huh? Well, let's see how many of these apply to my time after university. Oh, these must be phrases, things that you're used to hearing. Let's see. How many of them apply to me? Okay, I'm not afraid of failure. I'm definitely true to myself and my values, passion, and voice. I've done a measure of following my passions and dreams and heart. I would like to think that all my opinions and behaviors are ethically sound based on a firmament of strong ethical study and evaluation and soul searching. Never stop learning. This one must be the best one. Although as I'm reaching into my mid-30s, I'm feeling a real sense that I'm craving just living life and not really worrying so much about productivity. I do sort of sense that I'm needing a period of just not being so distracted or anxious or motivated by trying to be productive and put together projects and finish different artworks. It's a challenge to me. I have always wanted to just live in a free, unrestrained way, not really having any hang-ups or projects on the back burner, and a lot of the things I work on and fret over I have been dealing with since college, and that's a little much. Just a handful of things I want to release into the public domain as expressions of myself, and I suppose I want to cap it all off with an autobiography, and then I would really just kind of like to retire from public life. Well, YouTube isn't really included in that, but I would like to have a couple years of just living. Well, we've got a new Star Wars movie coming out. Just taking things as they come, and being able to appreciate stuff like Star Wars movies instead of thinking about what I should be doing and feeling anxiety over it. Oh, cool, there's Little Dragon the band. What? What a surprise, everyone. So, when I moved to Hartford, I planned my move and timed it and got my train ticket and everything so that I could be there in time to watch Little Dragon at Terminal 5. And I made some stop motion in college, and I was looking up stop motion videos on YouTube years ago, and I found their video for Twice off their first album, and I got a hold of their first album. And this was long before they ever were really very popular, and then with the release of their second album, they blew up, and was wide acclaim and a lot of fame. And now they're an extremely famous band. I mean, they're in the pages of Wired, and I've seen them gracing the. Pretty sure I've seen them gracing the cover of popular music magazines. So, anyway, I was into them years and years ago because of their incredible song with the stop motion video. The song is called Twice, and I only know the singer's name, Yukimi Nakano, and I've heard some of her other projects too. But anyway, let's find out what they're saying here. I am interested in this. Okay. Yeah. Well, they did have a third album called Ritual Union that I did not like really as much as the second and first records. And then their new one is out. That's true. I've not heard it at all. Well, I think I listened to a handful of songs, but I just haven't really caught up with my favorite acts and spent much time listening to the recorded output of my most inspirational, favorite bands. I don't seek out music very often. I don't really pursue magic. I pursue magic instead of music these days. But, of course, music has been an incredibly big part of my life. And I'll always be a musician, a guitarist, and a percussionist. I don't know if that makes me a well-rounded musician. But I also enjoy playing winds. With only a small set of experiences to look back on with those wins, but measures of success based on my own scale. What's going on here with these Pokemons? Zoological and botanical inspirations for the Pokemons. Well, that's very nice. But I was too old for Pokemon. I never got into it. Maybe if I had unlimited money, I wouldn't get the safest automobile possible. I would just buy this Corvette. Yeah, that sounds better. Imitation crab legs. I don't want anything on either one of these pages. Okay. Here's another tidbit about your Whisperer. I don't really like roller coasters. I've only ridden a few. I've ridden one where you stand up and you're strapped in, and I've ridden one where your feet dangle. And I've ridden, I don't know, maybe half a dozen roller coasters in my life, maybe a few more. Nowadays, I wouldn't even get on one. I would ride a dinosaur, though. If they strapped a harness and a saddle to a dinosaur, I would jump on. Just for a quick trip around the block. Okay. Crises that 20-somethings are prepared for. Collapse of the middle class. Oh, really? There's a mention of Oculus Rift right there. Maybe this magazine informs what goes on in my mind more than I realize. The World Trade Center be so. It must be so. So we've not really come to any big articles yet. I guess those are on the end of this May. Seems like they sprinkle them through more than usually more long articles are have started by now. Not too bad of a bike. It looks pretty cool. Electric. Yeah, well, I always thought it was insane when I worked at this health food store that people would come in and buy those Vitamixes. Retail $560. And they'll watch a 20-minute presentation and then drop that much money on a blender. That's ridiculous. The nutrition. You can get from really masticating food instead of blending it, I think is probably equal. Well, here we come to the big articles now. Oh, a special about Airbnb. Yeah, I would stay pretty much in anybody's house, as long as it was arranged through a reputable website and there were plenty of reviews. And that is the way to do it. Definitely the way to move forward. Very cool. It's a future of being less afraid. A future of being more wired. Okay, Silicon Valley and some kind of gold rush. Let's see, what are we talking about? Investors, exploitation, industrialism, capitalism, kumquats. Let's see. Yeah. Youth. Has it already gotten past me? Let's see. So that's Silicon Valley. That's kind of oppressive having the park just pressed right up on those, like, townhomes. Not a very good vista either. Get it? Oh, and it's back. It's back. Mega purple wine. Okay, wine drinkers, just pause the video. Learn all about it. Hey. Yeah, these guys are funny. That's pretty great. A little bit of a history of this program, which they call the most important TV show in the history of the universe. Yeah, with these magazine flip-throughs, I'm just giving it kind of a casual glance, and chatting up my listeners. But I think, well, of course I'm going to go back through and do a more dedicated browsing session. Read a little bit. Is my rideshare driver going to murder me? Let's find out. I know someone who's a rideshare driver, and I'm certain he still does it. He does it in my city. Let's see. Let's just imagine he is using Lyft. Did you reciprocate the driver's fist bump? Yeah, of course I would, obviously. Am I sitting next to the driver? choice. I've never done a rideshare, but it says obviously, so I guess that's the way it's gonna happen. How talkative am I? Well, I do prefer to ride in silence. So let's go on up. And that takes us to what type of vehicle? Do we get to pick? Do we know? Or does the vehicle just show up? Does it just tell you your ride's going to be here in a minute and look out for this or that? Well, since there's a Toyota factory a few miles away, I guess it's a Toyota. And it's going to smell like weed. And that takes us down to relax. Relax. You'll live. Good. Good. We've made it through. We've made it through another magazine. We've made it through our imaginary rideshare. We've learned a little bit about